FD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. We're broadcasting courtesy of Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters is at 612 South 32nd Street here in Fort Dodge. You may contact Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters by calling 576-6481. That's 576-6481. We're waiting on Dennis Plautz with the Growth Alliance to give us a call, and life will be so much better when Denny Plautz does that. We have some things to discuss as far as economic development is concerned, and you just heard Rob Jones say that Mayor Matt Bemrick is going to run for another term. I think this is one of the few times that we were allowed access to important information like this locally, and we weren't beat by the messenger. There's a messenger's greatest fear is getting beat by us because they are a 19th century information delivery device. They just are. The internet's killing them. It's killing radio, and that's all we can do or say about that. One day we'll all be online. I don't think there'll be towers or anything else. Radio station towers or radio station studios or anybody in the state of Iowa live and on air as I am right now, which is not a good thing as far as I'm concerned. But that's what's going to happen no matter what, whether I like it or not. So, again, we're waiting on Denny Plautz. We need to talk about the Fort Dodge Labs expansion. I know it's Elanco now, but like a lot of people, I still call it the Fort Dodge Labs. Of course, I live in the past. I'm still looking for Big Bear in the Disco Den out on Highway 20, and the Owl's Nest for that matter. You have to be kind of an old coot even to remember those things, but that's the way it is. I was terribly wrong concerning the Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks game. I told Nevin and Randy by text that the Phoenix Suns were going to win the game and it'd be 3-0 in the NBA Finals. Of course, the Bucks stomped on the Suns, and I can really wait to see them on Friday. What do you think? I got the phone ringing here, but I can't get Dennis on. Oh, now, God, no. There we go. Let's try that. Denny, is that you? Hello, Denny. For God's sake. No. That's great, isn't it? Can't have guests in the studio, and I can't get them on the phone either. I guess I'll just sit here and chat the rest of the day. But anyway, yeah, I was terribly wrong about the Phoenix Suns Milwaukee Bucks games. We'll see if I'm right tonight. I'm not going to watch the All-Star game in Denver because I'm ticked that Major League Baseball moved it from Atlanta, Georgia, which was much more deserving. And Atlanta, Georgia, of course, is 60% black. And a lot of those people, those black people, depended on the All-Star game this year to make a lot of money. Instead, if they borrowed money in anticipation of a good Major League Baseball week, we're just not going to get it. They're not going to get it, and they're going to have to find some other way to pay their loans. This is Denny telling me he keeps disconnecting. Here, let's try it again here. Denny, is that you?
It is.
All right.
It's my third or fourth attempt.
Oh, I know. It's sometimes the world closes in on me. I tell you, we have this thing where we can't have anybody in the studio because of COVID, and I can't have them on the phone either. So I hope you enjoy my voice, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be hearing a lot of it in the next 2 weeks, apparently. We do have some good economic news to report. Of course, Elanco, which I still call the Fort Dodge Labs, is going to expand. And what is your read on this expansion? Is big companies have $1 million or $10 million for a short-term investment. What's the Elanco investment now?
$106 million.
So they're not going to just put $106 million into Elanco here in town and walk away in a couple of years.
It's interesting, Mike. Maybe if I could digress a little bit.
Yeah.
because, we've had so much change at Elanco or Fort Dodge Animal Health since, it was privately owned. Then it went to American Home Products, and then to Wyeth. And then Pfizer bought Wyeth, and the Federal Trade Commission said you've got to divest it. And so Boehringer Ingelheim then picked it up. Then they did a merger, and Elanco ended up with it. And, each time it seems like we went through a series of activity to make sure that the plant here stayed intact and did not get moved someplace else. And the comment I would make for the average person is that in the animal pharmaceutical industry, growth comes through acquisition primarily.
Sure.
And, they can't just go out and build a new facility because of the government licensing and certification and so on. And when they do acquire something by acquisition, I'm hearing a little echo. I hope that's not going out.
No, that's just our phone system. I don't know.
Okay. And when that happens is these companies, they go through studies. In this case, they did an extended couple-year study on what to do with administration. They bought Bayer, and Bayer was headquartered in Kansas City. Elanco was headquartered in Greenfield, Indiana. And so they went through a study as to what to do with administration and ultimately decided to build a new facility in Indianapolis to house both Elanco and Bayer administration. And I just found an article in the Indianapolis Business Journal this morning that says the Indianapolis City County Council on Monday approved $135 million in financing, of which $64 million is going to Greenfield or to Elanco. $51 million is going toward public infrastructure, and $20 million is going for financing debt. But the point I'm making is they basically tipped all of it and are passing $135 million back to get their administrative offices. And Kansas City will be closed. So once that was done, then they did an operational study to try and decide where they were going to produce the product they have and where were they going to house research and development. They had, I'm not quite sure, Mike, but 9 or 10 manufacturing facilities that they owned after the Bayer acquisition.
Right.
And they've already sold 3 of those off. And I believe they will probably close 1 or more in the future. And so the good news in all of this is during that operational study that they did, they've determined, and based on what we are doing for them, they determined that this plant would be one that would stay open and would grow, starting with $106 million over the next 5 years. And I believe that it will grow even further because they're going to grow the research and development here as well as manufacturing. So as you said, I guess to start off, I think this is a great day because there's no question that this plant could have or was at some risk. The level of risk, I don't know. But I know their heads of research and their heads of manufacturing both have been in Fort Dodge, and we've had lunches with them and the state of Iowa. And this discussion's been going on for probably a year. So it is a good day. I think every time a company invests in facilities someplace, again, as I think you said, they're making a strategic decision to grow or keep that facility current. It's like Coke is going to spend $140 million over the next year or so.
140 billion?
140 million. I'm sorry if I misspoke. 140 million out here.
You got me excited there for a minute.
Well, I think 140.
140 is pretty good. Yeah.
It's like it's like your old comrade, Mike used to say, Jerry Snyder. A million here, a million there, and pretty soon you're talking.
Pretty soon you got a lot of money, yeah. I think that originally came from Richard Nixon, as a matter of fact. But I used to talk, gosh, nobody's mentioned Jerry Snyder's name to me in a long time. He was a very nice man. He was back in the day on the city council when the council was all men and they all wore suits and ties.
Yeah, that's right.
To the council meetings, and certainly the mayor did back in those days. Now it's kind of t-shirts optional type thing, but
well, he was a radio man. Before that, he was a PR man for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. He was a salesman for KVFD. Max Landis hired him, and he was there. He was at KVFD. I don't know how long, really, but quite a while. I remember he lived over in the south side of town, nice little house, and yeah, he was really a great guy. Yeah,
he really was. He not to digress too much, but he was the chair of my subcommittee for years. And so I had a great relationship with Jerry over the years.
Gosh, how long's he been gone? 20 years?
Oh, yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I remember he passed away and his wife died within 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gosh, I saw Don Wilson this morning, too. He came right over and shook my hand. It was a very nice conversation.
Was he in between golf games?
Hey, the man's in his 70s. He can play golf whenever he wants to. Well, I don't know what's wrong with you and me. We're still working.
I was just going to make an analogy. Yeah, something's not right.
I talked with Nevin Mulholland about that. Nevin's just a year younger than me, I think. Why aren't we retired? And we agreed that the reason we're not retired is we can't think of what we'd do if we did retire. Well, Don's got it figured out, so there we go.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think I would stay busy either way, but I don't, I like what I'm doing, and times are kind of good, and so.
It looks like we're going to have Matt Bemrick to kick around again for the next 4 years. I heard that. I would be surprised if somebody ran against him, and I would be shocked if somebody beat him. He's been an outstanding mayor, and I look forward to him serving again.
Yeah, he has had a lot of productive things occur in his 2 terms. I mean, if you really go back to 2006 and look at what has happened in this community since we went to city manager and since Terry Lutz and Matt and Dave Flattery, all of these people started coming into office, unbelievable the amount of changes that have occurred in this area. Positive change.
Oh, I don't even recognize the town anymore, Denny. You and I grew up in this area.
Yeah.
And we remember Fort Dodge back in the days when it was shoulder to shoulder on Central Avenue on Saturday, big shopping day. People came to town. But man, it's all different now.
I think we probably talked about this before, but I came down with my mother and we went to the Boston store.
Oh, gosh.
Boston Center. I went to Kutsky's on the square.
Yes, sir.
Was downtown.
God, I forgot Kotzky's. It was right on the square, right on the north side. I forgot.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah. Melody Grill on the other side.
Yep.
That was great. Where was the Army surplus store? Was that that wasn't in the Boston Center, was it? I don't think it was.
No, let me just think for a minute. It was down there, though.
Yeah, it was down, and I think it was on the north side of the street rather than the south side where Boston is. But
you had model clothing. You had diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
You had. I also spent a lot of time in that hobby craft shop that was up where the Seltz buildings are now on 12th Street.
Yeah.
I was a big model railroad builder. And that's where I came to get my supply.
Well, that's, every kid should do that,
I loved it. I had half a basement full of track and mountains and buildings, and I could run multiple trains from a board. I could switch the switches and run the trains at different speeds on different tracks. And
Boy, you were a kid, weren't you? You were a kid of the 50s and 60s. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that and baseball cards.
Oh God, yes. I had all the great cards. I even had a Ted Williams card that I came by somehow. And there was a leaky roof in the house that ruined most of my baseball cards. But I had the great players of the day, certainly. And I wish I still had those cards. The only one that survived was Mickey Mantle, probably 1961 in there somewhere. But that's the only one I have left after all these years. But
I have a shoebox full that survived our basement getting water in it. My mother throwing them out while I was in college.
Oh yeah, mothers have no respect for baseball cards.
Oh, my mother felt so bad after I told her she threw away tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, absolutely. In the baseball card revival years in the late 80s and early 90s, I had $50,000 worth of cards, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I had obscure players. I had every sort of player. I had whole teams, especially the New York Yankees, the Dodgers, the Reds, and the Twins. I had all the cards of every member of that team, of those teams. And I mean, there are obscure guys like Don Mincher, Yeah,
I remember
Don Mincher and guys like that. They were, those were the days. They really were. I had a Ralph Kiner and a Hank Greenberg. There you go. Now you're talking.
My dad got from one of his clients when I was a kid, got a whole box full of those old thick cards when his kid went away to school. And his kid probably was mad at his father for like we're mad at our mothers.
Yeah, those were real important. I mean, I was a paper boy. Are you ready for this? I was a paper boy for the Des Moines Tribune. And I remember it. And I'd run into other Des Moines Tribune paper boys at the time, cruising around the neighborhoods on our bikes. And they all had cards with them. And I had cards with me. And we'd stop and talk and trade cards. Then we go down a little further and be another guy. It was a great time to be a kid, I'll tell you.
Oh, it was.
But they're on to us, Dennis. They found out we were privileged, and that's it.
Well, it was a nice time to grow up. I enjoyed it, and it was a time when I hope, I'd probably have had parents taken away from me or me taken away from them, but in those days, I would ride my tricycle down to the swimming pool from the west part of town to the northeast part of town. We'd swim all day, and then we'd call our mothers to come get us because we were too tired. I don't know how old I was, but that's pretty young.
That's pretty young. Well,
nobody thought anything of it.
No, nobody did. No, I rode my bike at least a mile from the north end of Algona to the south side. To the south side where the old Algona pool was, and spend all day there. That was a great time. In fact, our mothers in the neighborhood would encourage us to go, so we weren't hanging around bothering them all day, which we were in total agreement with them. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. All right, Denny Plautz of the Fort Dodge Growth Alliance has Alliance. The Fort Dodge Growth Alliance has been our guest. Is there anything else we need to know?
It's good to be back on with you, Mike.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you maybe next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yep.
Thank you. All right, take care. Yeah, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
Sports Update. I'm Rob Jones. Second-ranked Fort Dodge softball has a chance to punch their ticket to the state tournament tonight. The Dodgers host Sioux City East at Rogers Park in the 5A regional finals. Fort Dodge had no trouble in their playoff opener. They cruised past Sioux City North 12-0 in 4 innings. Jalen Adams had a home run at the plate and was perfect in the circle, striking out 7. Martina Lowry had 2 hits, scored twice, and drove in 2. Sophia Klinger had 2 hits and scored twice as well. It'll be a short turnaround for Fort Dodge with almost zero time to prepare for for tonight's game with Sioux City East. However, Dodger coach Andy Adams says that she feels that the key tonight is her team playing up to their standard.
At this point, you can prepare for teams, as much as you can, and honestly, a little, but we need to do what we do best, and that's play Dodger softball.
Catch all the action of Fort Dodge and Sioux City East with a trip to state on the line, starting with pregame coverage at 6:50, first pitch at 7 p.m. on 92 Rock and online at yourfortdodge.com. St. Edmund Baseball opened their postseason on Monday night as they cruised to a 14-0 win in their playoff opener over Harris Lake Park. The Gales put up a 10 spot in the first to take control early, and that 10-run first